Okay, right. So I'll share my screen.
Okay, Amrit, we're streaming live, so you can start with the introduction.
Sure.
Amrit, you can go ahead.
So good afternoon all. MBA IIT Kanpur is elated to welcome Mr. Prabhakar Tiwari, Chief Marketing Officer at Angel Broking, which is one of India's largest stock brokerage firms. The core of Mr. Tiwari's profile expertise is built around leading digital and technical oriented organization, driving consumer innovation and ensuring disciplined execution. And I am Bangalore gold medalist. He has worked in leadership roles in prominent organizations like Marico, CEAT, and PayU. Mr. Tiwari will be enlightening us today on the topic marketing in the new economy. Over to you, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, very good afternoon to you all, and I'm glad to be here on the invite of IIT Kanpur Management Institute, and Amrit was in touch with me, and it's always a pleasurable experience talking to young minds and management graduates at that. So, so we have decided on a topic which is close to my heart. So marketing is always close to my heart. But one thing about marketing, that adopting marketing to the new economy, and change is the only constant in today's world, and more so in COVID-19 times. So it's a pleasure to talk about this topic. And another logo that you see on the right hand bottommost side is the startup, the Shivir, which I'm angel investor and also mentor, and they do a lot of training programs as well, and they also give live opportunity in terms of projects and all to the colleges, in B schools and elsewhere. So moving on, see, in terms of the content flow, I thought that maybe we should first talk about the context. Am I audible? Am I kind of sound is okay?
Yes, sir. Perfect.
Yeah. So first we'll talk about the context. It's important to absorb the context. Then we'll talk about and revisit some of the marketing basics. And then we'll talk about the technologies which are shaping the human experience around us and hence marketing. And then we will look at few examples to make the entire new uh, benchmarks and new paradigms come alive in front of you. As we move, you can follow me on Twitter. I mean, my Twitter handle is at sayspt, SAYSPT. And during the course of this presentation today, you can tweet after following me, and you can use the hashtag new economy marketing post COVID and hashtag IIT Kanpur. I would remind you from time to time during the course of presentation, and the most visible and good quality tweet guy would have an option to kind of go for a live project with the Shivir. Okay, so you can follow me on the Twitter handle at says PT. Now let's start with the context, and to set the context, I have this first video which I would like to share with you.
There is a moment when all you see is fog. When the answers you're looking for, the insights, the way forward are clouded from view. But this is not that moment. This is a moment of realization, of discovery, of truth. This is the moment the path is illuminated. The moment you clearly see what works and what doesn't. When you figure out how to fix it. This is the moment that was right in front of you all along. This is the moment we bring Watson to marketing. This is the moment everything changes.
So So let me assure you, this is a very nice marketing sleek video at that. And now many of you come with a lot of work experience, and you would have realized by now that there is nothing called a single moment, which changes everything, and neither there is no single solution. So the context of the first context of today's presentation to you is that there is no single solution. There is no single moment, which changes everything. There are series of small things which are required to take care of new realities as they emerge. Moving on, this is the next video I would like to share.
Peter, come take a look at this. Mr. Daniels.
Look at this.
What's this? The numbers, they keep getting bigger and bigger.
Clicks are off the charts.
Yeah.
Yoshi, it's Walter. We're back.
I need 3 more, please. I'll get you more, please.
Take a look at one pole.
Everything you got to do right now.
He really loves that thing.
And this is the second context for today's presentation, that marketing is not a perfect science. So don't expect scientific formulas to solve problems or to tell you what's the way forward. It's a combination of art and science, as we would see in further part of the presentation today. And this is the last video in terms of setting context. It is self-explanatory, but let's play it out.
From travel to construction, from entertainment to education. Many industries have been impacted badly by the COVID-19 pandemic. As economies head for recession, it's the speed of change that has surprised many and impacts the advertising industry hard.
Previous recessions have been slow motion by comparison to this. So the sudden, in effect, collapse in demand for advertising has been something that the industry has never faced. And of course, the corollary of this is actually we've never been consuming more media. So if you look at falling demand and rocketing audiences and readership, actually media has never been better value.
And some areas of advertising are being hit harder than others.
Out of home and cinema are obviously going to be massively affected because their audiences have gone. Cinemas are closed and there's nobody out there on the streets. So advertisers are not going to be wanting to buy those media. With other media, the position is more mixed because some will be pulling back on plans because they can't keep up with demand, or some advertisers will be looking to conserve cash until they get a clearer readout on how their business is going to be impacted. So very hard to see a big picture other than pretty much everything is going to be down.
Brands positioning ads is one thing, making them in the first place is another. And that's a particular problem for London, given the UK's role as a global creative hub.
Production has been hit very, very hard because obviously most work has stopped, and the new work that's been produced will be produced using post-production techniques and avoiding live shoots because we can't take a whole crew on location anymore. People are incredibly ingenious and inventive in these things, and I think we are seeing, and we will see even more imaginative responses to this so that business can carry on. The government response so far has been, in terms of its help for business, has been terrific. And I've just been on a call actually with a government minister with a roundtable from across industry, and absolutely universal praise for the speed of response of government to this. But then, in fact, the conversation was already turning to what might be the recovery sort of timescales and how might government help that recovery.
It's particularly important for UK PLC that the ad industry recovers quickly.
Well, we have got an extraordinarily diverse, resilient and world-leading industry here in the UK. Advertising.
See, the third context is about COVID-19. See, in best of time, we talk about marketing as marketing has to take care of the consumer needs and requirements. And for that, because as the consumer needs evolve, marketing keeps evolving. However, the rate of this evolution has gone through a drastic change, all thanks to COVID-19. And it will not be right to discuss about adopting marketing to the new economy without understanding the context of COVID-19. So in today's presentation, I'll be sharing with you a lot of examples and a lot of frameworks, and also there is some bonus material for you, you know, regarding COVID-19 and its impact on not just in the aspects of marketing and business, but overall economy. So moving on, I would say that, watch the rest of the presentation with curiosity, and you will get to learn a lot. I think one important skill a management graduate should have, in my opinion, is the ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So I invite you on this journey where some basics will be touched upon, and we will learn a lot of new things, and try to not reject anything new saying you already know about it. See it in a new light and see it in the context of today's presentation, and maybe some new insights will be rewarding for you. So before we move forward, I think the most important concept in my head, what I have learned in my academic journey and also in my professional journey in marketing, is consumer barrier. Consumer barrier, in a way, put together a lot of marketing concepts at a single place, because eventually it's the consumer barrier you need to overcome before you can make a sale. So let's look at it. The first consumer barrier is awareness. I don't know you. And that happens in the market when your brand is not large, it's a regional brand, or it's a new brand in the market. People outright reject you because they are not aware about your brand. The next barrier is about relevance. So now they have come to know about your brand, but they say that they don't need you. So there is a lack of relevancy, which you need to overcome as a barrier. Third is superiority, where the customer says, I already have the benefit. It means that you are another brand in the market, and customer already has a very satisfactory experience with their current option, and hence they do not want you. Third is credibility. In your effort to prove yourself superior to competition, you try to make tall claims as a brand. And because of those tall claims, customers say that they don't believe you. There is a credibility gap which you need to fill before you can move forward. The last one is in terms of negative. So is some negative, and that needs to be taken care of. And that is, I like the benefit, but it has some negatives. So I will share some examples with you for all the consumer barriers. Now, these are international examples which I am going to share with you. I learned it while I was in Paris as a part of my experience with Danone marketing in India as a startup marketing head. And so these are international examples, and sometimes the language would not be English, but they are very self-explanatory and will bring the barrier alive for you. So the first barrier, as I said, is awareness barrier. The brand is not at all present in consumers' mind. Let's look at this example.
Something you've always believed is about to change. The first light ice cream that's as rich and creamy as regular is here. Dreyer's slow churned light ice cream with half the fat. You've been waiting for this.
Time.
So this example, look at it, it doesn't talk much about the benefit of the kind of product. It doesn't tell you a very interesting and involving story, but it just tells you about coming of a new brand in the market. And this is the kind of advertisement you do when the brand is new in the market. And this is the awareness barrier which you need to overcome. The next is about relevance, where customer has come to know about their brand, your brand and the benefit, yet they're not convinced, and they think that this benefit is not relevant for them.
ไม่เคยคิดเลยว่าความกังวลจะเป็นปัญหาใหญ่ค่ะจนวันหนึ่งที่เกิดเป็นขึ้นมาถึงรู้สึกเลยว่าเป็นยังไงพิมพ์ผิดแล้วนะรู้สึกไม่มั่นใจเลยค่ะส่งผลถึงเรื่องงานจนได้รู้จักกับ Activia เลยตัดสินใจซื้อมาลองทานค่ะ
เพราะดานอน Activia มี Actiregularis จุลินทรีย์คัดเฉพาะจากดานอนที่มีส่วนช่วยในการขับถ่าย
ดูแลตัวเองได้ดีเรื่องงานก็สบายมาก
ดานอน Activia โยเกิร์ตมีส่วนช่วยในการขับถ่าย
Now let's look at this example. Like there are people who do not think that they have a digestive problem, and there could be a product which is relevant for them. So like example of Activia product, which is a 1 billion euro brand worldwide, and to make consumers realize that this is a relevant problem for them, you see in the communication they are showing real life examples or scenarios where maybe you're not feeling good and you're not able to concentrate at work or at home because of digestive problem. And in the light of those problems, Activia is presented as a solution, and this is how you create the relevance. You can think about many such examples, like you can think about Close Up as a brand, and you can think about earlier examples of Close Up where two young couple would not like to be around each other, maybe because of bad breath, and that's how you create a relevant. And then you say because of Close Up, they can be close together because the bad breath issue has been taken care of. Moving on, once the relevance is established, as a brand, there could still be a problem that customer already has a solution at home, and or maybe they have some other brand. Then how do you take care of that?
Activia est différent d'un yaourt.
Disons, je voyais pas la différence entre Activia et un yaourt. Comme là, c'est convaincu ou remboursé, je me suis dit, bon, bah, j'essaye. Déjà, au goût, c'est différent. Et je trouve ça bon, maintenant, j'aime bien. Je sais pas, petit à petit, j'ai senti que ça me faisait vraiment du bien, là.
En plus des ferments du yaourt, seul Activia contient du bifidus actif regularis qui résiste mieux dans l'estomac et arrive en quantité supérieure dans la flore intestinale.
Et dès 15 jours, Activia m'a aidé à remettre de l'ordre. Maintenant, quand je prends Activia, je sais pourquoi.
Essayez Activia. En ce moment, c'est convaincu ou remboursé.
So look at the example here. A customer is comparing a plain yogurt with Activia, and the customer is also talking about how Activia is superior, and look at the money back guarantee. So that's another marketing tool which is available, which allows people to try out new things. So despite having the plain yogurt at home, and plain yogurt is known to have digestive benefits, yet Activia is saying that their benefits are superior as compared to plain yogurt. And to invite customers to try Activia, they are offering money back guarantee. So this is another example. How do you take care of superiority benefit? Yeah, let's move on. Then one issue comes in that, when you start making superiority claim, then your claim is not believed by the customer. Maybe they are too tall a claim that it is not believed. Then what do you do as a brand to take care of that? Let's look at one such advertisement.
Desde Actimel queremos agradecer a las universidades y sus colaboradores, a los especialistas de la salud y científicos, a los centros de investigación e instituciones, y sobre todo a las personas como tú, que han hecho posible que existan el gran número de estudios que hemos elaborado y que demuestran científicamente que Actimel ayuda a las defensas de tu organismo. Consulta los estudios científicos de Actimel.
Yeah, in this example, a context of research is shared with the customer, saying that, you know, whatever we are saying is basis research findings. So that's another way to build credibility. If you look at taller, stronger, sharper kind of communication from Horlicks, and multiple such examples you can see in television, and they say that it is backed up by research, and that's how you can build credibility. Sometimes you also get a third party. Those third party could be, say, the best chef, you know, most well-known name in the chef, or could be a endorser, you know, in the form of a doctor, well-known doctor, or you know, could be some Bollywood celebrity. So that's also a possibility, you know, to add credibility to your brand. The last bit is you know, negative. Like, how do you take care of the negative? Like, if there's something which is negative about your product, how do you take care of that? So let's look at this example.
Parece muy limpio, ¿verdad? La placa se acumula en tus dientes de la misma forma. Si además de cepillarte usas Listerine por la mañana y por la noche, podrás eliminar los gérmenes y un 56% más la placa. Es dinamita contra la placa y previene la inflamación de las encías. Listerine limpia tu boca a fondo.
So let's look at this example, right? You know, I mean, the taste is awful in this case, and for the mouthwash. And just to say that, you know, why the taste is awful, it actually works. And they made this entire visualization in the form of a ship in the sea, and all the associated, you know, kind of visualization. And this is the way in which, in a way, marketeer is convincing you that don't worry if it tastes awful. Like, it is actually working inside your body or in your mouth, you know, and that's how it is. So we looked at variety of consumer barriers, and how kind of those are taken care of. Now, moving on, I want to show one example of Procter & Gamble. So it's a very well-known company in like India and also abroad. So this is a video which talks about Procter & Gamble and their marketing effort over the years. And you would see many examples of marketing efforts, what we call marketing collateral, DV commercials, poster, banner, brand endorsement, in-film placement, and multiple such examples would be there. And you would see how do they change over the years, you know, and that will give you a sense that how the marketing is adopted with the changing consumer needs and preferences.
Of all the women who do their wash, she has the cleanest wash in town.
Since the launch of Tide in 1946, Procter & Gamble has obsessed about its superior cleaning power.
Get Tide, then you'll rinse out the cleanest wash in town.
From proving it in the laboratory to showing it in advertising.
The liquid Tide got all of the stains out on both the grass and the blood.
In the US in particular, it's a brand close to customers' hearts.
Look, I'll give you this one. Give me the Tide. I'll give you this.
I'm sorry, you lost the box.
The roots of Tide are always the voice of the consumer. So if you pull back to Letters campaign, or to Family Ties, or now to My Tide, all of these are storytelling of consumer insights around life and laundry. Very consistent to what the brand has done.
The ads have evolved at the same rate as Tide products. P&G has never shied away from trying different ways to advertise, including this slightly bizarre advert that became a talking point, featuring a talking stain.
I'm actually very, very good with fruits.
In a world where ads fight for attention, Tide aims to stand out. One such example was, it's a Tide ad.
It's a Tide ad.
What?
It's a Tide ad. No, Tide ad.
During the 2018 Super Bowl, the brand set out to hijack every ad, reminding the audience,
it's a Tide ad.
The award-winning ad helped change how Tide works with agencies and led to the creation of an entirely new agency called Woven.
Woven birthed out of Tide ad. And that created an intersection between our creatives, our media, our influencer, everyone coming together. And we said, how do we make this a repeatable model?
That radical collaboration sees Woven as an agency of agencies, all sat together, all for P&G's fabric care brands.
combines our MMK, which is our influence agency. It has talent from Grey, it has talent from Saatchi, it brings in Publicis, it brings in our design agency, Nice. So we have everyone on that floor sitting together. And it has, importantly, our Fabricare media agency.
And many marketing functions are coming in-house, like media planning and buying. And that's helping how Tide reinvents advertising, trying to encourage people to spend time with the brand without being interruptive.
We're trying to reinvent advertising by finding advertising the consumer looks forward to. So we're merging the ad world with the entertainment industry, the sports industry, and we're finding interesting, positive ways to create those stories that drive interest for the consumer.
Sundays are now 100% NFL, not for laundry.
So when we did the Tide NFL program with Not for Laundry, we actually created a 4-week debate between the NFL and NBC partners. Never been done before. Was that advertising? Was that content? Was it entertainment? A little bit of both.
Are you kidding me? Now I gotta go watch this.
Not now, it's the Super Bowl.
But it's those so-called tentpole events that allow the brand to create memorable moments.
In the Super Bowl that just happened, the insight we had was that the weekend is for chores, but no one wants to do chores on the weekend. So Tide Power Pods is designed for laundry for later. You can wait.
What if I spend my entire life waiting for later?
Or what if later never comes?
So then the whole story that Charlie Day and Emily Hampshire were able to talk about throughout the Super Bowl was all around the fact that laundry can be done later, making it relevant, merging in Wonder Woman by inserting those different relationships in a new and fun way.
We wouldn't be doing that today.
Tomorrow. Tomorrow works.
And technology continues to help Tide and other P&G brands reach the consumer.
We're looking for new technology. We're looking for new ways to create a superior consumer experience. And so the first interactive ad at the Super Bowl was something we wanted to be a part of. Letting the consumer choose their direction is a great way to interact with ads.
America, do you think we can handle this?
The consumer does like to engage. They like to present their opinion, and they affected what the ad was that ultimately aired.
There's no doubt that creativity married to data leads to positive business results.
Tide has won 23 Cannes Awards, a black pencil, over the last 3 years. But importantly, Tide Business is up, and it's connected to that creativity of problem solving. So post-Super Bowl, Power Pods were up 30%. Tide in February is up 5% as a total brand. So we believe that we have the best business results when we have the strongest, most creative work that helps the consumer relate to the brand.
You're wrinkling it all up. Come on, that's not folded, that's crunchy.
Right. So
hi, I'm James Wright, and thanks for watching Marketing Media Money.
So this examples tells you about how P&G has been very innovative, and the marketeers are very smart and up to date, and how they have been innovating to take care of changing consumer needs and preferences over time. The basic problem remains same, which is about Tide promise of cleanliness and whiter than the white kind of promise. However, the way it is communicated, the kind of storytelling which is there, the kind of data analytics usage, the kind of usage of high impact Super Bowl, like they have Super Bowl there, we have our IPL, Indian Premier League here in terms of cricket. So those kind of moments are utilized, and that's how marketing keeps adopting as we move forward. Now moving on, the next image will look very old. So this is a very old image, some 17th or 18th century image, and look at the thought process here. On the one side you have sale, and on the other side, on the left hand side, you have attention, interest, desire, and conviction. So maybe we started thinking about management and marketing management at the start of 19th century, but even in past, people had an idea that every sale is an offset by attention, interest, desire, and conviction. All of them have to be there for the sale to happen, and otherwise this results. So if you try to, so in salesmanship, if you make an attempt to establish desire before interest is properly aroused, the sale is lost. So even before the customer shares their interest, you try to create desire by storytelling or overselling, talking about multiple feature. The sale doesn't happen. Why I'm sharing this? I'm sharing this because next I will share with you this kind of funnel. Now, this kind of funnel is very common in digital marketing. In past also, in TV led old economy model of marketing also, people used to talk about awareness, interest, desire, and action, IDA model of advertisement and all. And today people talk about this kind of funnel where they talk about attract, awareness creation, consideration, purchase, retention, advocacy, and this kind of funnels are very common. The funnels become more complicated in the world of startups and very technology led business, where you have top of the funnel and you have all the measure like reach, ad impressions, CTRs, you have middle of the funnel, content reader, percentage, leads, or you have bottom of the funnel, which has the advocates, loyal customers, prospects, etc., etc. So the point I want to tell you is that the entire thought of marketing funnel has evolved over time vis-a-vis what it was earlier, as I shared with you, and versus what it is today. I'll share another video with you. This video will tell you about the promise of digital marketing, what all can be accomplished with digital marketing. That's what will be shared in the video. We'll talk more after you have seen the video.
Digital marketing is the promotion of products or brands via electronic media. By using digital marketing channels and methods, you can analyze your marketing campaigns to understand what is working and what isn't, typically in real time. While the internet is the channel most closely associated with digital marketing, other channels are important. Digital media is everywhere. Consumers can access information wherever, whenever, and however they want it. And they are no longer influenced by just what you say about your brand. In fact, consumers are more likely to be influenced by what others say about your brand. The reality is that people prefer brands that they can trust, companies that know them, communications that are personalized and relevant, and offers that are tailored to their anticipated needs and preferences. Digital marketing can help you deliver all that, but there are three main challenges to overcome. The proliferation of digital channels. Consumers use multiple channels and a variety of digital devices with different protocols, specifications, and interfaces. This makes it hard to manage digital marketing efforts. Competition is intensifying. That's because digital channels are relatively cost-effective compared with traditional media, such as print, making them within reach of practically every business. Exploding data volumes. When consumers use digital channels, they leave behind a huge trail of data. Unfortunately, digital data is often not integrated with data from operations and business activities. As a result, many businesses struggle to find the right data for making the best strategic and tactical decisions. Given these challenges, what does it take to get digital marketing right? It comes down to three actions. Managing complex customer relationships across channels, both digital and traditional. Responding to and initiating dynamic customer interactions, and extracting value from big data to make better decisions faster. Knowing your customers is not enough. You must know them better than anybody else so you can communicate with them where, when, and how they are most receptive to your message. To do that successfully, you need a consolidated view of customer preferences and expectations across all channels, not just digital. With this information, you can create consistent, coordinated customer experiences that will move customers along in their buying cycle. The speed and immediacy of digital, combined with the power of advanced analytics, make it possible to measure, monitor, and test campaign performance on the fly, to learn what works and doesn't work. This helps you improve the customer experience and marketing ROI. Too often, marketers can't access or make use of all the data necessary to get the best insights. They are often limited to data subsets or samples, which compromises analytic accuracy. To make the best decisions, you need access to all customer data and marketing data to deliver more real-time, complete customer experiences in an agile, cost-efficient way.
Great. So one big thing that we need to understand about digital marketing is that digital marketing has made media within the reach of small businesses also. Because if you look at television as a media or print as a media, there is some minimum threshold cost which you need to incur, and many times such costs are prohibitive. Only big national brands can actually take care of such cost and can advertise. But in digital marketing, you can start spending, say, starting from even 10 rupees, 50 rupees, like, you can spend on Facebook, or Google Analytics, sorry, Google AdWords and all. So those kind of spends are also possible. Now, just taking a pause here in terms of Twitter, I have Rishabh Gupta, Faizan Anwar, Chitranshu Sharma, and Pranab Roy. And okay, now I have got one message, mention and tweet from Pranab Roy. So you guys can follow me at SAYS says PT in the Twitter, and can start putting up whatever you liked and whatever you learned new things in the Twitter. So moving ahead, another thing that I want to tell you is that you started looking at the PNG model of advertisement, you saw the digital marketing. So every marketing effort is basically in continuum. On one side, you have branding, name recognition, and that can happen through print advertisement, TV advertisement. And then you have plethora of things like retargeting, SEO, pay-per-click, social media. And on the other extreme, you have leads, which are the deliverables from digital marketing, because there we talk a lot about cost per lead, cost per acquisition, etc. So the online marketing happens in a continuum, which all of us need to understand. Moving on, now here is a statement saying that, what if I told you there is a way to both increase conversions while building your brand? See, now these are not objectives which are two different objectives in conflict of each other, but there is certain sense of timing difference. Like conversion is short term, here and now, and building your brand is something long term, which you see the impact over a long term, whereas conversion is about here and now. So here we are talking about, is it possible to combine both the short term nature of the business requirement with the long term nature of business requirement? We're talking about that. And we are talking about hyper connected shopper, consumer, and they are like everywhere. They want everything now. There are multiple things happening in their mind. They're opening their mobile, looking at WhatsApp, Twitter, Facebook, whatnot. They have chores to do, they have things to accomplish. So this is a hyper connected consumer. There's a way in which you have to map the customer journey. Now this is one thing that you will get to hear a lot and lot more in digital marketing basic, which is about the consumer journey. You can clearly see that from the awareness, consideration, purchase, service, and loyalty expansion, starting from the radio, TV, print, outdoor, to looking at Google search, to paid content, to direct mailer, to offline conversion, to a mobile app site, to a chat, to a call center. So all of them are touch points in customer journey, and it's important to manage these hyper connected customers across the customer journey. One big problem is that customer or traffic or website visitor, they are anonymous. They can choose to be anonymous, and hence, and they're also there in large numbers. So we have to try to kind of look at their digital traces. They leave behind traces of their digital behavior. Like, for example, for this customer whom we cannot identify, for example, we know that she is looking for women running shoes. We know that she has looked at marathon training schedule. She has searched in Google for marathon training, and she has read some blog article. She has also tweeted about it, and she has also watched a video on treating shin splints. So in a way, if you can combine all this together, you will know how to market to such segment of customer. And one idea in digital marketing which gets a lot of traction is about buyer persona. And you can do buyer persona in multiple ways. You can try to capture the background of the customer, the demographics, what could be their goals, how you can help as a brand, and what are the common objections. So you can make personas, and these personas will allow you to do your social media marketing, content marketing, even paid marketing, PPC marketing in a much better way. Similarly, buyer persona, it is another form of buyer persona where you have looked at, apart from the usual background demographics, you've looked at their pain points, their challenges, how do they use technology, their hobbies and interest. So this is another way of making the buyer persona. So the point I want to make here is, if you look at marketing basics, when you have multiple touch points, when your customer is anonymous, the way you can market better in digital is by creating buyer personas. Now, there are multiple other tools which are available, and one such tool is Google Marketing Platform. Now, there are multiple platforms, like Adobe platform is there. Then there are a lot of players who kind of give individual modules of such marketing platform. But let's look at Google Marketing Platform. This is also the marketing platform we use at Angel Broking.
Google Marketing Platform is a unified solution for cross-channel marketing. It includes an integrated set of advertising and analytics products that let you manage the entire customer journey. As a marketer, you want to understand your customer behavior. Google Analytics provides web and app analytics that let you see how users are interacting across multiple properties. When combined with Google Optimize, you can run experiments on your properties and personalize the experience for users. Once you've optimized the experience, you want users to interact with your brand through other channels. That's where Google Display and Video 360 comes in, with end-to-end digital marketing campaign management. Streamline the creative development process, simplify your media planning, and reach the right audiences. Google Search Ads 360 helps you get the most out of your search campaigns and respond to an ever-changing market in real time and at scale. With your campaigns in full swing, you can use Google surveys to develop the market research questions you want to ask and pose those questions to users around the world. Finally, use Google Data Studio to share data from almost any source via interactive dashboards and reports. Marketing Platform Home is your starting point. You can see all of the products you have access to, as well as functionality to manage and integrate those products. Integration Center is where you manage product-to-product links to share audiences, import data, and link accounts. You can easily create new links, see which products are already linked and sharing data, and learn more about potential integrations that will help you get more value out of Marketing Platform. Use administration to manage billing, users and permissions, and the organizations that unify your Marketing Platform products. Recently Viewed provides a list of accounts and advertisers you accessed recently. With Google Marketing Platform, everything you need for end-to-end control of your marketing is just clicks away. To learn more about how to use Google Marketing Platform, visit our Help Center.
Right. So this was about Google Marketing Platform, and you could understand, and we'll look at more examples in the subsequent section, that how multiple aspects of managing your audience analytics, personalization, looking at variety of media tools, customer journey orchestration, real-time marketing, how does that happen? Like, this is the Google Marketing Platform, which is a technology stack which helps you in programmatic marketing. So this is another basic Google marketing basic. So after all of that, maybe we need to be more strategic about our marketing. And this is one example of a strategy house where you align KPI and stating vision on digital, where the brand KPI, digital media KPI, role of digital, and vision on digital media, they can be put together. So this is one of the templates. There are multiple such templates are there. But in the basic of marketing, I can tell you that this will allow you to be more strategic not tactical in your usage of digital marketing. Finally, you will hear a lot about growth hacking. Now, this term has a lot of traction. It started from startup which are bootstrapping and which are looking for low cost way of promoting, acquiring new customers or retaining customers. So these are called growth hacking. So with this, we come to an end of the basics. We try to capture. So in whatever like last 15-20 minutes in the basic section, I try to tell you that marketing from the consumer barrier to looking at a PNG kind of marketer for last 100 years plus to today digital marketing to Google marketing platform to the template to growth hacking. So the basics are covered now, and we could clearly see that the basics do not change, they get adopted. This is another learning that you need to have. Now let's look at some fundamental technologies. They say that uh, there's a saying which talks about like how you need to run faster to be in the same place, and that happens because the world around us is changing very fast. The emergence of television, the emergence of automobiles, the emergence of internet, and multiple such technologies have advanced us in a much accelerated fashion. However, now I will talk about few fundamental technologies which will shape human experience for next decade or more, and they will just accelerate us in the path of evolution. So there are such technologies, we'll talk about them one by one. So here comes the first technology.
Tell me, how do you like to learn?
Songs are my favorite. Oh, Elmo likes songs. Puzzles!
Oh, me love puzzles.
Well, puzzles are a great memorization tool.
Dinosaurs! Yes, puppies!
Oh, I love puppies.
So do I.
Actually, pets can teach important lessons about...
Dancing! Oh, Elmo loves to dance!
Okay, then. Let's dance.
See, this is my preferred video on artificial intelligence. I've been talking about artificial intelligence for more than 5 years now in variety of forums, professional and academic forums. But this fundamentally takes my heart, because here you can see artificial intelligence, and this is also at least 2 years old video, that the artificial intelligence dealing with the being in a playful mode with the kids. Because so no amount of algorithm can teach you how to match the spontaneity and the excitement of the kids. But look at the nature of development of artificial intelligence, that it can match the energy level of the kids. It can understand the mood of the audience and can kind of adapt itself. So artificial intelligence will fundamentally change multiple things around us. We are looking at multiple use cases at scale, from Alexa to Cortana to Siri to multiple usage. We can see in advertisement, in programmatic, in robo advisories, in buying, selling, in Spotify. So multiple places we can see the use of artificial intelligence. And I would invite all of you to kind of get your basics right in artificial intelligence. There are a lot of amazing reading material available. There are a lot of courses, and some courses are free on artificial intelligence. And this is one skill you should have. You should know more about artificial intelligence more deeply, to kind of further your career. Let's look at the next video.
Since the days of clay tablets, people have recorded the exchange of goods and services. As we evolve into the digital age, recording these transactions has become much more complex. Whether it's the exchange of money between two parties, documenting how goods move through a supply chain, or making contractual agreements. The growth of global commerce and trade has created a network of disparate ledger systems, vulnerable to errors, fraud, and misinterpretation. Take the diamond industry, for example. The journey of a diamond from mine to consumer covers a complex landscape of legal, regulatory, financial, manufacturing, and commercial practices. Current supply chains have to rely on intermediaries every step of the way, from government officials to lawyers, accountants, dealers and banks. This adds time and cost. Diamond smuggling and fraud can hamper governments from collecting fair export taxes, and consumers and retailers face the prospect of purchasing counterfeit or unethically mined stones. This is where Hyperledger blockchain technology comes in. It has the potential to eliminate these vulnerabilities with transparent transactions. Blockchain offers all parties involved in a business network a secure and synchronized record of transactions. The blockchain ledger records every sequence of transactions from beginning to end, whether it's hundreds of steps in a supply chain or a single online payment. As each transaction occurs, it's put into a block. Each block is connected to the one before and after it. Groups of transactions are blocked together and a fingerprint of each block is added to the next, thus creating an irreversible chain. That's why blockchain is ideal for recording the mining, refining, and distribution of one of the most valuable goods in the world. It can trace a diamond's path from the mine to the hands of the consumer with exceptional security and transparency. While blockchain works with all types of transactions, there are three key features that make Hyperledger blockchain uniquely capable to handle the requirements of a regulated industry like diamonds. It's distributed, it's permissioned, and it's secure. Because the ledger is distributed, it works as a shared form of record keeping, ensuring no one person or organization holds ownership of the system. As the diamond cycles through its supply chain, everyone involved during the process is permissioned to have a copy of every record and piece of data, and no transaction can be added to the chain without consensus across the participants. This means no one person can add to or alter the blockchain without it being permanently recorded, making it tamper-resistant and highly secure, eliminating the risk of fraud and error. No one, not even a system administrator, can delete it. In the case of diamonds, a blockchain ledger keeps a record of high-resolution photos of each diamond and every touchpoint along its journey. It holds certificates of authenticity, real-time records of every payment transaction, as well as product details like cut, clarity, color, carat, and diamond serial numbers. At the end of the buying cycle, there is a complete, auditable, and indisputable record of information. Blockchain technology gives us the ability to transform industries of all sorts, from diamonds to flowers, monetary transactions, or even things like contracts, deeds, records, and other public and private agreements. It frees up capital flows, speeds processes, lowers transaction costs, and most importantly, provides security and trust. We believe that blockchain will do for business what the internet did for communication, create new ways of working and leave more time for creativity and innovation.
Yeah, so blockchain seems quite familiar because people have heard about Bitcoin, but unfortunately, Bitcoin popularity has some way eclipsed the importance of blockchain. As a hyperledger, it has amazing amount of application. However, it has not gone mainstream till now. So blockchain is another technology which has amazing usage. I mean, all of us are, they used to say that, even 5 years back, the amount of technology which is used in smartphone was equivalent to the first space craft. You know, the first time people went to kind of moon or to space, the amount of technology which is used there is available in a smartphone, the computing technology. So the point I'm making is that the way the technology is available in all our smartphones, and the way we are so eager to be online and to kind of do a lot of clicking around or computing, processing data around, blockchain can have multiple usage in coming days. So blockchain is another technology which will have amazing impact in the coming decade. And again, I would urge you to kind of go and understand the basics. It is not so complicated, and also it's quite fun if you're mathematically inclined. So moving on to the next one.
Cloud computing is the on-demand delivery of IT resources via the internet with pay-as-you-go pricing. Instead of buying, owning, and maintaining physical data centers and servers, you can access technology services such as computing power, storage, and databases on an as-needed basis from a cloud provider like Amazon Web Services. Organizations of every type, size, and industry are using the cloud for a wide variety of use cases, such as data backup, disaster recovery, email, virtual desktops, software development and testing, big data analytics, and customer-facing web applications. For example, healthcare companies are using the cloud to develop more personalized treatments for patients. Financial services companies are using the cloud to power real-time fraud detection and prevention. And video game makers are using the cloud to deliver online games to millions of players around the world. With cloud computing, your business can become more agile, reduce costs, instantly scale, and deploy globally in minutes. Cloud computing gives you instant access to a broad range of technologies so you can innovate faster and build nearly anything you can imagine. From infrastructure services such as compute, storage, and databases, to Internet of Things, machine learning, data analytics, and much more. You can deploy technology services in a matter of minutes and get from idea to implementation several orders of magnitude faster than before. This gives you the freedom to experiment and test new ideas to differentiate customer experiences and transform your business, such as adding machine learning and intelligence to your applications in order to personalize experiences for your customers and improve their engagement. You don't need to make large upfront investments in hardware and overpay for capacity you don't use. Instead, you can trade capital expense for variable expense and only pay for IT as you consume it. With cloud computing, you access resources from the cloud in real time as they're needed. You can scale these resources up and down to grow or shrink capacity instantly as your business needs change. Cloud computing also makes it easy to expand to new regions and deploy globally in minutes. For example, Amazon Web Services has infrastructure all over the world, so you're able to deploy your application in multiple physical locations in just a few clicks. Putting applications in closer proximity to end users reduces latency and improves their experience. No matter your location, size, or industry, the cloud frees you from managing infrastructure and data centers, so you can focus on what matters most to your business.
Yeah. Now, this is another technology which is technological development, which is cloud computing. It has been around for many years now. However, it has gone mainstream in a big way. Not just Amazon, the video you saw, but Microsoft is big, Google is big, IBM is big. So almost all big players are now into cloud computing. And the power of cloud computing is not just for individual business, it is also for individual customers. So now you can access those kind of super computing at the cost of, at the cost or at a subscription price, which will be far, far lower. So basically, as a marketer, you can now enhance your organizational capability in terms of personalization, taking care of the need of the customer, reducing the latency which is there, and customer can actually, with the help of cloud computing can now start consuming services which were thought impossible in past, but now such services are possible to be serviced with the help of cloud computing. So this is another technology which you can know more about, and it will be useful. Moving on. So this is the next technology we can think about.
The Internet of Things is changing much about the world we live in, from the way we drive to how we make purchases, and even how we get energy for our homes. Sophisticated sensors and chips are embedded in the physical things that surround us, each transmitting valuable data that lets us better understand how these things work and work together. But how exactly do all these devices share such large quantities of data? And how do we put that information to work? Whether we're improving the production of a factory, giving city residents real-time updates on where to park, or monitoring our personal health, it's the common Internet of Things platform that brings this diverse information together and provides the common language for the devices and apps to communicate with each other. The process starts with the devices themselves, which securely communicate with an Internet of Things platform. This platform integrates the data from many devices and applies analytics to share the most valuable data with applications that address industry-specific needs. Let's start with a simple example, a car. After taking a long road trip, Rebecca notices that her check engine light has come on. She knows that she needs to have her car looked at by a mechanic, but is not sure whether it's something minor or something that needs immediate attention. As it turns out, the sensor that triggered Rebecca's check engine light monitors the pressure in her brake line. This sensor is one of many monitoring processes throughout the car, which are constantly communicating with each other. A component in the car called the diagnostic bus gathers the data from all these sensors, then passes it to a gateway in the car. The gateway integrates and sorts the data from the sensors. This way, only the most relevant diagnostic information will be transmitted to the manufacturer's platform. But before sending this organized data, the car's gateway and platform must first register with each other and confirm a secure communication. The platform is constantly gathering and storing thousands of bits of information from Rebecca's car and hundreds of thousands of cars like hers, building an historical record in a secure database. The manufacturer has added rules and logic to the platform. So when Rebecca's car sends a signal that her brake fluid has dropped below a recommended level, the platform triggers an alert in her car. The manufacturer also uses the platform to create and manage applications that solve specific issues. In this case, the manufacturer can deploy an application on the platform called the Asset Management System. This application oversees all of their customers' cars on the road, as well as all the parts in their warehouses. It uses the data from Rebecca's car to offer her a potential appointment time to service her car, directions to the nearest certified dealer, and a coupon for the service. What's more, the app will ensure that Rebecca's brakes are covered under her warranty, that the correct replacement part is ordered, and then sent to the dealership so it is ready when she arrives. But the manufacturer's analysis does not stop there. They have also deployed a continuous engineering application that tracks not only Rebecca's car, but hundreds of thousands of others, looking for ways to improve the design and manufacturing process of the car itself. If the same problem in her brake line crops up in a critical number of other cars, the manufacturer uses applications custom built for the automobile industry to pinpoint the exact problem. They can see if these cars were made at the same factory, used the same parts, or came off the assembly line on the same day. So what do all these pieces add up to? Streamlined inventory management for the dealer, a better, safer car from the manufacturer. And for Rebecca, it means she can be back on the road faster and get to where she's going safely. All thanks to the Internet of Things.
So other technology which will take the world by storm is Internet of Things. As you could clearly make out in the video, that how the vehicle can talk to the server and talk about the faulty part, and how the the kind of system itself will book a dealer appointment for the car on the way and on the highway, and also like how they will order a new part to replace the faulty part. And not just that, if the fault continues to happen in a large number of vehicle, and if there is a pattern, then those problem can be pinpointed to a faulty machinery or a faulty raw material or maybe a faulty operator of the machine. Now that's the power of Internet of Things, where and this has a lot of implications. So this has implications in terms of what people can expect, from a variety of items, say from their cars, or maybe their air conditioners, their refrigerator, their mobile phones. So the companies which can play the Internet of Things much better will have a lot of advantages in terms of giving functionalities to the customers. Also understand what it can do to the entire supply chain. The entire thought of how to get data about the parts, is possible through Internet of Things, and you can do a lot more improvement on an ongoing basis. So this is the power of Internet of Things. Do read more about this. And moving on, this is the next video. This is also on Internet of Things, but this is more about human experience and human use cases. Right. So, so these use cases are some of these use cases are already in place. Some of these will get in place in some time. But fundamentally, what we are saying is that the entire human experience of living is changing drastically. Technology is making many things possible, and it is not just about your comfort or your lifestyle. It's also about in the matter of health, in critical healthcare system deliveries, taking care of old people. A lot of IoT techniques are being helpful there. So in total, what we can say is that Internet of Things has multiple usage. We have just scratched the surface. Many new use cases are yet to arrive, and it has not gone mainstream to the degree there's a possibility of going mainstream. And combine this with the cloud computing, big data, AI, ML, and then you are talking about things which we have not yet experienced, and which can give us more joy, more pleasure, and it can make human life more interesting. Yeah. So and one statement, what if I told you your inability to understand evolution not is not evidence against it? So I hope you remember this point. So with this, we come to the closure of the technology section, and we'll get into examples. But before that, update from the Twitter. So we have some new followers and new guys to in messaging, like Naveen Bagga, Amrit Raj is there, and we have phd.iitk. And it seems phd.iitk has just opened his Twitter account to follow and put messages, and has put a lot of nice messages. The latest message is from Amrit. Technologies like cloud computing are enabling smaller businesses to leverage latest technology at a pay-per-use basis. So great, go on. And people who are not yet in the Twitter, please follow me at SAYS says PT. So that's a very simple Twitter handle for you. Okay, now moving on. So we have so far looked at the basics. We have understood the context, and we have also looked at the technologies. Now let's look at examples which will bring alive the entire thesis of adopting marketing to the new economy. So let's look at the first video here.
Go boom with high speed. Go boom with superior grip. Seat launches exclusive Boom 3 tires, first Indian age-rated tires for high-speed grip. Now, go Boom with Seat tires.
Okay, so this is one communication which was made way back in 2013-14 when I was GM marketing with Seat Tires. It was 3,000 crores INR business for passenger segments, for motorcycle tires, scooter tires, sedan tires, and SUV tires. Uh, Way back then, the youth focus on Seat was not so much, and we were seen as a fuddy-duddy brand. And we had an opportunity in the sense that we had one tire which was H-rated tire, which can go up to say 240 kilometer per hour. And the R&D team colleague wanted us to market it. And when we looked at opportunity, one opportunity was to kind of do a tie-up with movie franchise like Dhoom, because Dhoom 3 was just about to come to be released at that time. And we did this tie-up, we made this communication, and it had a huge impact on our youth quotient. We were seen more as a youth-centric brand, so much so that this particular tire, which was having Dhoom 3 kind of printed on the tire itself, for a cost, which was supposed to be a selling price of 1,800 to 2,000 rupees, was selling for as high as 4,000 rupees, 4,500 rupees, because it was such a huge demand at that point of time. And we could get a lot of benefit of tie up with Dhoom 3 as a brand. Other thing that we did at that point of time was to kind of also look at mobile gaming, which was big then that time also. I think Dhoom 3 mobile game was downloaded around 10 million times. And there, in a pure biking game, if you are like, what happens that you have a certain feature and power like nitro boost, which allows you to kind of race and speed at a much faster speed. So Seat Nitro, we could brand it Seat Nitro Boost, and we can also have a Seat Shopee from where you can buy your accessories like bike, helmets, etc., etc. So all in all, the Dhoom 3 as a tie-up worked really well for us. So I was giving you this example because, I mean, for Seat as a brand, which was seen as a fuddy duddy brand at that point of time, to get a youth centricity back, we used this kind of method. Moving on, let's look at the other example. Uh,
Yogasanas, good morning.
मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि इसके अंदर बहुत सारी
Yeah, so this is talk of micro moments, as an example. And Google started this when smartphone usage became quite common. And I would invite you to measure how many times in a day you open your smartphone. And you'd be surprised, this number could be as high as 400 times or 600 times, and could be more, you know. So whenever we open our mobile phone, there is an intent, and we have an intent in mind, and an intent could be of variety of nature, to do something, to go somewhere, to see something, or multiple other such intent could be there. So those moments are like micro moments. And what Google wanted to tell advertisers, that as a brand, you have to become relevant to your users in those micro moments. So take for example, Saffola, which is an edible oil brand, also has Saffola Oats. So Saffola Oats, they created a YouTube channel, and they took a chef, and with the help of that celebrity chef, they created recipe for multiple dishes which can be made with oats. And that's their way to leverage those micro moments when customers are looking for recipe. Similarly, an oil brand, a lipstick brand can own occasions like makeup occasions. So they can make content in social media or in YouTube where people can take for uh, take inspiration for doing proper makeup. So that thought is of micro moment. Now that entire micro moment comes from the very basic concept of first moment of truth. Now, first moment of truth as a concept was given by P&G chairman and CEO A.G. Lafley. So the first moment of truth is like you going to a modern trade retail, and suppose you are standing in front of a hair oil aisle, and you're seeing multiple brands of hair oil packs there. So in a way, you have Dabur Amla, you have Parachute coconut oil, you have some other oil in front of you, but first moment of truth is like your packaging is your silent salesman for all the advertisement you have seen for the brand before you entered that modern trade outlet. For whatever impressions you have about the brand at that moment, due to a better pricing, some discount or some salesman or some consumer offer, if customer chooses some other brand rather than your brand, then you have failed in first moment of truth. But if you can make customer pick you up then and there, then it's your first moment of truth, and you are a winner in that. Now the next is a second moment of truth. Now second moment of truth is the point when customer goes home, unpacks the brand and consumes the brand. So idea is, what is the experience of the customer? Are they delighted with the consumption experience? That is about second moment of truth. Because if they are not excited, then all your fancy advertisement, endorsement, discounts, consumer offers have failed, because that customer will never buy your brand again, and rather they can go and badmouth your brand. So as a brand, you have to win in the first moment of truth and also in the second moment of truth. Google came with another concept which is more applicable to today's world, called zero moment of truth. Now, what is a zero moment of truth? Now you understand that in the entire consumer decision-making process, from the first step, which is awareness of the need, to the final step where customer goes to purchase something, there are multiple phases. Customer looks at alternatives, they do research, they look for recommendation, and finally they purchase. However, let's assume for a moment that you are looking at the book review of One Night at the Call Center by Chetan Bhagat, and you look at some friend has posted that, you liked it immediately, you clicked on the link, you go to Amazon, you kind of buy the book in the Kindle version, then you open the Kindle version and you start reading the book. It can happen all in flat 5 minutes, from first time knowing something or needing something and actually consuming something. So that is what is possible in the internet world, and that's why the word zero moment of truth came in existence. And now we are talking about micro moments. So these are examples in which you can adapt your marketing to take care of the customer needs. Moving on, let's look at other examples.
At Adidas, collaboration is one of the things that we focus on as a company overall to make sure that we're all working more closely with each other. We talk a lot about the consumer journey no longer being linear. It's very difficult to know when the consumer is going to come in contact with your message. And because of that, it makes it much harder to deliver the right message at the right time. One thing we do a lot more now is we use data to help us in a singular environment like Google Marketing Platform, and you're able to see audience insights and information you can share across all those departments from a brand perspective, from an e-commerce perspective, from a retail perspective. And what we found is if we're sharing insights, we know when someone should be receiving a brand message versus a product message, when they're thinking about buying or when they're actually ready to purchase.
Being in brand marketing for so long, there was this initial pushback on data and the science behind it because it was an art. But what we're seeing now is the ability for data and insights to really inform the art of storytelling. It allows us to understand the impact that we're having in real time.
Real time is incredibly important to us. We want to let people know that the shoe that was on our basketball player who just had a triple-double is our shoe. And so it's important for us to push media out there very quickly. Google Marketing Platform helps us do that, right? You have a very easy to use platform where you already have audiences built in to see both the usual brand lift and brand affinity lift go up, and to see traffic and sales both increase across the board was great for us.
Starting every meeting with data and insights, that's something that we want to take outside of just the marketing organization and really infuse it across our culture here at Adidas.
Right. So this was one example of Google Marketing Platform. I talked about the Google Marketing Platform in the basics, and you can see one application here. I mean, it was self-explanatory. I don't need to talk much about it. Let's move to the next one. And this is about COVID-19, how different brands have behaved. I'll use the word behaved during COVID-19, like how they have tried to empathize with their customers and how to make it convenient for their customers to kind of enjoy or to kind of feel satisfied during COVID-19. Let's look at some examples here.
A clueless flip-flop from Adidas and force agile and appropriate ad swap. I'm Jeff Beer, and this is Fast Company's brand hit miss of the week. First up, the miss. After days of announcements from brands like Nike, Apple, Patagonia, Under Armour, and more that they'd be closing stores around the country in response to COVID-19 and the social distancing required to flatten the curve, as they say, Adidas took a different approach. On Monday, CEO Casper Rorsted sent an email to Adidas retail employees. Quote, "We have to keep the company going and open for business to ensure that we can pay our monthly bills and salaries to everyone. Closing down is easy. Staying open in a healthy environment requires courage, persistence, and focus. No, what's easy is making declarations that make your frontline employees vulnerable, while also implicitly encouraging customers to leave their house, risk infection to buy more sneakers. The hard choice is actually closing down and ensuring those employees who can't work from home are paid and healthy. As bad Adidas decisions go, this ranks up there with those sneaker cowboy boots they came out with a couple years ago. It's fair to say Rorsted's decision did not go over well because Adidas reversed its stand less than 24 hours later. In a statement, it said, "To our athletes, teammates, and friends across the world, your health is what matters most. In support of the worldwide effort to keep our communities safe, we have decided to close stores in select countries through March 29th. It ends with, "This is a tough time. Let's look after each other, our families, and our communities." Oh yes, thank you, Adidas. Now I believe you. This week's hit belongs to Ford. We're in the midst of a health crisis, and with it comes serious economic consequences. People aren't buying as much stuff. People are getting laid off. And despite government assurances, the anxiety associated with closed businesses and lost wages is very real and affecting millions of people. This is not the time for a peppy car ad. Ford already had ongoing ad campaigns ready for March Madness TV extravaganzas. Once that was canceled, plans had to change. Late last week, the brand worked quickly with its agency, Wyden & Kennedy, to make 2 new ads. Look, marketers are always talking about making work that resonates with people and becomes a part of culture. But in order to do that, a brand must know its place in culture to begin with. Here, Ford shows it knows that cars are one of the biggest, most significant costs in people's lives. And here, it chooses to do something about it. It reminds me of Hyundai's 2009 Super Bowl ad. Back then, instead of some celebrity-filled fun fest, the brand acknowledged the 2008 economic downturn. It told prospective new customers that if they lost their job within a year of getting a new car, they could return it with no impact on their credit. The move went a long way to boost Hyundai's brand in the United States. This week, Ford saw an opportunity to make a difference in its customers' lives, illustrating the gulf between true brand work and empty advertising. That's it for this week. Stay safe, wash your hands, and we'll see you next time.
Yep. So,
sir, actually, sorry to interrupt, sir. So we might have to wrap it up in another 10 minutes because we have another seminar lined up, actually.
oh, sure. Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So, so this example we saw. But tell me, like we agreed for till 4 p.m., right?
So we agreed for 1.5 hours.
Okay. So maybe there was a miscommunication to me. So I was hoping for till 4 p.m. So So let's wrap it up. So two more examples, then you can, if there's question, you guys can ask. Yeah. Okay. So the last example was about how do we take care of how do we take care of COVID-19 and not do empty brand work, but rather than doing empty advertising, we focus on doing more of a brand work. So last example was that. This is another example of Spotify again using technology for greater consumer experience.
Spotify is the world leader of music streaming, but you can also listen to audiobooks or even podcasts on it.
We operate in over 60 markets. We have 71 million subscribers to Spotify Premium.
Our goal is basically to improve conversion rates from free to premium. It's very important first to understand what our users are looking for.
One of the challenges is localization. At Spotify, we have loads of local knowledge. We have great teams. They want to do a lot of localization for their specific markets.
In Germany, it's quite surprising that the most streamed content is not music, but is an audiobook. We decided to launch a test with Optimized 360. We wanted our users searching for audiobooks on Google to see a very dedicated landing page to audiobooks.
So in this case, with the direct integration with AdWords and Optimize 360, when people have searched on AdWords for audiobooks only, then show it on this page. We did 50% of all traffic. We send that one to the normal premium page, and then the other 50% of the traffic, we would send it to like a rebranded premium page with a lot of audiobooks on there.
Optimize 360 made the process very easy. If we had wanted to run this audiobook experiment without Optimize 360, it would have taken a couple of months, but it took a couple of days. The results were far above our expectations. The audiobook landing page had generated an increase of 24% of premium subscription. Before Optimize 360, we weren't even testing anything. It has changed the way Spotify is trying to be more and more locally relevant across all of its.
So this is example of Optimize 360, which is another tool and allows you to personalize your customer experience much better and much faster. You can read more about Optimize 360 by searching for it. Let's look at another examples where the technology is playing a huge role.
Wrangler India, one of the leading denim brands in fashion, wanted to market their product Sun Shield, which had heat reflection features to keep you cool this summer. And the task at hand was to amplify the same. It was summer, the heat was unbearable, temperature rising about 35 degrees. It was the perfect time to communicate about such a product. Since communicating temperature control feature of the brand was a key task, choosing the right medium at the right time to target the right audience with the right communication became extremely critical. Contextual targeting, partnering with leading climate-based apps became our key strategy. A mobile was preferred destination to reach our audience at the right time. Every time the temperature went above 30 degrees, an ad was pushed out to the TG via top apps and a real-time temperature reading in their respective cities, thus making the ad extremely powerful and relevant. It reached 17 lakh audience and witnessed a whooping CTR of 1.8%. Real-time city-based temperature targeting became a huge success achieved by using technology.
So this is another example which tells you that how it's possible to use technology, like in this case, advertisement like banners, native advertisements, everything is kind of taking the local temperature and giving you a message which is highly personalized. So take for example, you go from Bombay to Chandigarh, you get a message that maybe Chandigarh, that time the temperature is say 16 degrees Celsius, you get a message that feeling cold at 16 degrees Celsius by say Amul thermal wear or Jockey thermal wear. So technology can be used in multiple ways. This is the last video in terms of COVID-19 and what all is possible examples in marketing.
Millions across the globe are feeling the effects of the coronavirus outbreak. The stock market has plummeted, store shelves are often bare of essential items, large events like the South by Southwest Festival in Austin, Texas have been canceled entirely, but some effects are less apparent. Here are a few ways the coronavirus outbreak might affect us in the months to come, specifically in the world of technology. Depending on which side of the tech industry they exist, the coronavirus outbreak is either a boon or the bane of a company's business. As companies urge their employees to work from home, those employees turn to apps like Zoom for video conferencing and Slack for communication. And as you can imagine, Zoom and Slack are doing quite well now. Likewise, as people opt to or are forced to stay home, they may turn to delivery services like DoorDash, Postmates, and Instacart to get food and supplies without having to risk exposing themselves. These tech companies also continue to thrive. Naturally, as those bound to their homes seek to find entertainment to pass the long hours, streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, and YouTube will likely see an increase in use. Movie theaters, on the other hand, will likely see reduced occupancy, potentially sending a message to Hollywood that it may want to consider switching gears. Also, as travel is declining, booking sites like Expedia, Kayak, and Travelocity are seeing a sharp decrease in new business and a notable uptick in cancellations. Coronavirus will also have an effect on the tech hardware business, and it all comes down to a term we rely on every day without necessarily understanding it or being actively aware of it: supply chain. The brand name on the front of a phone or laptop or TV only tells you who designed it. Assembling all the parts is a complicated web of contractors, subcontractors, and warehouses which go completely unseen. For example, there is indeed a factory that makes TVs. That factory doesn't necessarily make the TV screen. The screen is made by another factory. The processing chip is made at a different factory, and the power supply may be made at yet another factory. You get the idea. It's all interconnected. If just one factory or supplier is shut down, the entire system can grind to a halt. Apple has already indicated it will likely not be able to make a sufficient supply of its smartphones for the year. We can expect that to be true of other smartphone makers as well, and we'll likely see a shorter supply of other goods like TVs, washers, dryers, refrigerators, computers, and many other items.
So there will be multiple such impacts. You can imagine it's not just about fulfilling demand. There's a lack of demand as well. And this could impact brands and consumption in a big way, right? So with this, I believe I should cut down on other things, which we could have discussed if more time would have been there. So in case you have your queries and if you have time for it, we can handle it now. Yeah, any questions, any queries?
So we'll just wait for a couple of seconds if we have any questions. Otherwise,
yeah.
So, okay, Vriddhi has a question. So Vriddhi, you can go ahead, please.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, please, Vriddhi. Tell us. Yeah, please go ahead.
Vriddhi, you're on mute.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
You're audible, Vriddhi.
Yeah. So, sir, you talked about user personas and how a lot of companies create a very detailed user persona to help with their marketing plans.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to ask, is this still relevant in a B2C scenario or B2B scenario? Because in a B2B scenario, there are multiple people and channels involved. And your end user might not even be the same as your decision maker. And everybody involved brings a different user persona to the table and a different purchase process to the table. So as a marketer, how do you deal with that situation? Do you still stick with that detailed user persona strategy, or do you adopt some other strategy?
Yeah, so good question, Vriddhi. And, I happen to be the one who taught B2B marketing for 2 years at IIT Bombay Salij Mehta School of Management. So B2B marketing is a very important, is a topic very close to my heart. So see, in B2B marketing, the most important thing is buying center. you know, in buying center, behavior is important. And in buying center, you have user, you have decision maker, you have buyer, you know, there are multiple such, you know, roles are there, or technical evaluator is there in a buying center. So you have to think about user persona in that light, that, you know, who is the decision maker in any case, say for example, for IBM, or take for example, Hewlett Packard printers. So again, there'll be a persona, but the persona will be made in a different way. Because I have also written a research paper on usage of social media in B2B marketing, and clearly you can communicate with white papers, webinars. So who's the white paper audience for you, or who will come for the webinars, or if you go for exhibitions, who will come from the buying center. So you can always make a persona, and that will be different from the kind of detailed personal demographic based persona that you you know saw in B2C. So B2B, those personas, the buyer personas will be very different, but you can always make personas. Yeah. Any more questions?
So we have one more question from Naveen.
Okay, that be the last question. Otherwise, we'll exceed the time. Yeah.
Hello, sir. Naveen here. Sir, you mentioned about mentioned about barriers, where you mentioned a lot of points about awareness, relevance, and superiority. So my question is that there's a particular company called Paytm Mall. That particular e-commerce feature of Paytm is very much aware among the audience. It has relevance as well, but still it is not able to convert its awareness into a successful business if we compare it to business like Amazon and Flipkart. So what should be an ideal strategy when you are having a business and people know, but still you are not able to convert that awareness into a business?
See, I happen to know about Paytm Mall a little bit more. However, you have to think from an angle that, see, awareness is always towards one particular benefit. See, customers are very busy lot. It's not possible to bombard and to store too much information about your brand in the minds of customer. In fact, some marketeers says that you should own a unique word in the mind of customer, and that's it. So for Volvo, that word is safety. For Rin, it is something else. For Lifebuoy, it is something else. For Taj Mahal tea, it's something else. So the question is that Paytm as a word could have huge awareness, but that awareness is linked to their wallet function, may not necessarily be a mall. Now Amazon is able to take its business in multiple directions, because for all business units, they have spent a lot of money. If they would not have communicated about Amazon in variety of area, or say Reliance in variety of area, then the customer, they would have faced a similar problem in relevance, in terms of superiority benefit, or in terms of credibility. So the point I'm making is Paytm Mall has not advertised much, at least not in big print and TV as a media, and hence the awareness level for what Paytm Mall can do, or what is available at Paytm Mall is not so high as an awareness, you know, and that's where they have failed. And Paytm Mall had other issues as well, you know. There's a paucity of time, else I would have got into details, but suffice to say that awareness it happens around a brand and a specific benefit. If you want to stretch the brand in terms of brand extension or line extension, you have to spend more money around those particular extensions. Otherwise, it will fail. So that's it from my side. You know, it was a pleasure talking to you guys today. Thanks for being a wonderful audience and a lot of Twitter activity. And you can follow me at Twitter at SaysPT. And thank you very much for your time, guys.
Thank you so much for your time, sir. Thank you for taking this time out. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.